So I believe that there are three tectonic shifts in how software is being developed and experienced. And the interesting thing is that all of them are happening simultaneously. We've got client and cloud computing, where applications are distributed across multiple services in the cloud and across processors on your PC or device. You've got social computing, where we're all really profoundly connected not only to the applications, but more importantly to each other, and that becomes an integral part of the application experience. And finally, devices and desktop. We have really entered a multi-screen world where you expect to have access to your information and your friends wherever, on whatever device that you might be using. So I'm going to take you through all of these and how we're tackling them and how they will shape our future direction. So let's take a look first at client and cloud. Now, Adobe is playing a significant role in the client and cloud computing landscape through our platform technologies, the Flash platform. And it's our belief that the future of computing is going to be a combination of local client processing and cloud services, so that you leverage the compute power of the local computer or device and tap into a diverse set of services on the web. So let me start with the client side of this world. Flash Player reaches pretty much all the computers on the web. And what's amazing about it is that we can update a version of the Flash Player basically in 9 months, which means that we can keep the innovation really fast and get them out to everybody on the web so that you can take advantage of it. Now, we drive the evolution of the Flash Player based on feedback from you. And for Flash Player 10, what we focused on were really 4 things. 3D graphics, publishing quality text, audio, and custom filter effects with a new technology called Pixel Bender. So let's take a look. So the first thing I want to show you is an application called Hobnox, and it's an audio application. And the guy who created it actually filed a feature request in the Flash Player bug system. And he created a grassroots movement to get people to vote for his bug and to contribute to how the feature turned out. And the Flash Player team really responded with a great API. And what it allows you to do is hook in to the audio processing dynamically at runtime, and you can modify the waveforms, you can generate new waveforms, you can control the music playback, you can do things like mix different instruments. So here is Hobnox, and what it is an app where you can sort of take synthesizers and drum machines and things like that. You can take effects and you can wire them all together, and you can create pattern-based music. So I can just push play. And what I can do is add a little reverb to the drums, for example. Put a little filter on that bass. Add a little delay and reverb. And then change the patterns. So it's a little old school, probably not as good as the music that you were hearing this morning. But pretty interesting stuff. So the next thing I'd like to show you is a different use of audio. And what Grant Skinner did was he wrote a visualizer that hooks into the audio stream and then uses 3D to provide a visualization. And what's cool about this is that he was able to take his existing 2D tweening code and just switch it so that it modifies the third dimension in response to the waveform to provide a visualizer. So for a different look at 3D, I have this. Dale Chihuly is an artist who lives and works near where I live in Seattle, Washington. And this application takes some of his images of his artwork from Flickr and displays them on a 3D wall. This is sort of similar to how he displays his artwork in real life. He sort of tiles it up on shelving and mounts it on the wall in sort of a grid like this. And what we've done is we've provided 3D navigation by taking the image and then simply position it once and then just alter the rotation in response to the mouse, and you get this effect. When I click on an image, we go out and fetch it and blow it up, and you'll notice a cool little transition. And let me do that again so you see that transition. And the transition is done with the new technology called Pixel Bender. And what Pixel Bender allows you to do is to basically write image processing software that goes through and can modify each pixel. So this is a custom little bit of code, but it's really, really teeny. It's 1K. And the cool thing about it is that the transition was created simply by modifying one variable on that Pixel Bender filter. There was no tweening code, there was no masking or anything complicated. It's very, very simple. So let me show you a different take on 3D. 3D has been really, really popular in the ActionScript community. There are lots of third-party libraries that people are writing, and so what we wanted to do was to make those libraries even more powerful. And so what we did was we created a drawing API to draw a mesh of triangles and to allow you to map texture. And you can then modify that mesh of triangles at runtime for very smooth effects. So we've tied some physics here. Now you probably wouldn't know where the triangles are, but let me show you. If I click the show lines, it sort of illustrates the triangles. And then we're mapping a bitmap. But of course you can take any Flash content and map that in. So what I can do is, let me turn off the lines and put some video. So you have video mapped onto sort of a 3D piece of art. Really heard loud and clear from everybody is that you need better text support. Specifically, as you get into internationalization scenarios and supporting multiple locales with rich script. Flash never was able to handle, for example, right-to-left languages. But as you can see here, we're displaying Arabic. And what I can do is I can just, let's take a look at Chinese, which is a vertical language, and you'll notice if I select, it's fully editable text. We can take a look at Russian, we saw Arabic, Hebrew, Hindi. So we really have now great text support in Flash. But not only supporting languages, we've created higher level constructs that allow you to do really cool things. Such as, for example, flowing text from container to container. So, for example, here's some text, and I can just select it, and you'll notice that the selection wraps around this. And if I show the containers, you can see the containers that the text is flowing to. So you get to just sort of specify exactly where you want it, and the text will automatically be wrapped. Later on, we'll show you how we have rich hyphenation support. But what I can do, for example, is I can just, let me turn off the containers, select all that text, and then we'll paste it into a different set of containers, and it just flows very, very seamlessly. Now, another thing we wondered was, okay, so we've got these new rich text capabilities, and we've got this new drawing API that allows you to sort of really understand and modify something that you draw. What happens if you strung them together? So I have this, and we'll switch it to Italian. What I can do is just drag my mouse, and then we can animate that. So I think that gives you a taste of some of the great new features and innovations that we have in Flash Player 10. It's being installed currently at a rate of over 10 million copies per day, so it's really getting out there very, very fast. And I'm really pleased to announce that we now have a pre-release for 64-bit Linux of Flash Player 10. And it's available on Adobe Labs, so you can go and download that right now. And it's easier to use. It provides native installation on 64-bit systems. And what it removes is the necessity of having a 32-bit emulation there. So this is a great new feature.